then I have already entered to that corporate world. Now, what is innovation? Doing something new or just doing a change in an already done product? Can you say what an innovation is? Yeah. So you have to think out of the box to do something new. So when you and me as a founder of a company, you want your team to do something out of the box, so how do you do it? So thinking out of the box is like, you have to go from a point A to a point B. It's not always like doing the same route the others have done it, right? You can go either way, this way, that way. So now you have to give a task to a team, like you have to do something new which no one has done it. Maybe the product is already in the market, but you have to do some changes in that, make it new, innovate it, think out of the box, have a smart thinking. So what do you do with your team to do it? As a founder, what I would think, give a task to the team members. I would say them, ask yourself how you are going to travel that route. The first thing they can do is, you can ask a child. Because child, they are innovators. They have so many imaginative thinking going on. They do every pulse of time, they do the new things. They, break the toy and then they explore it. That this toy has been made in this way. How about it breaking it and making in a new way? So you can ask a child how this could be done. Now you will think like, why to ask a child? The reason is they are innovators. Next, as Richard Feynman says, he has been a Nobel laureate in physics. So he said, like, if you can't explain a 6-year-old, then you really don't understand it. And when you don't understand it, how will you give it to the world? So to give it to the world, make a new thing, make it so simplified that everyone is able to use it, right? So one thing I would suggest is, like, let the team be in a collaborated way. Do not give different cabins to different persons. Let them work in a team. Let them innovate. Maybe a problem can be a problem to somebody, but somebody else is going to have a solution. And that problem itself is an innovation, actually. So let the team work on it. Let them innovate. Let them have a smart thinking. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sapna, for speaking as poignantly as you spoke this morning. Thank you. Where are you going? I'm kidding. Please.
I'm here to collect the award.
Of course you are. Please have a seat.
I'm not going to
If I could invite our next speaker, Varna Sriraman. Welcoming Varna, the founding director of Pinpoint Ventures.
So hi, I'm going to keep this really short because I'm aware that we're all kind of post-lunch stupor. This is always like one of the dreadly scary slots to speak at. But I think I have about 3 things to say, which is relevant to the theme that we're talking about. But before I get into that, I think just a one-line introduction on what Pinpoint Ventures is. We're a full-service social research firm, so we work only with the development sector. And what we're really trying to do is to up the quality of evidence in the nonprofit space globally, right? Not just in India. So when I say that we're trying to up the quality of evidence, I mean we're going to sort of focus on measuring statistically, because that's what I am, a statistician and an economist, very clearly what development ventures do and impact, why impact, and what do they achieve, right? So there are 5 things that Pinpoint Ventures has done innovatively, which I think should make a difference to all corporates to think about. One, that we're a startup, but we're possibly the only startup in the world that even before had its products out to sale, had a CSR policy in place, which was actually giving back. For every piece of work that we undertake, We don't do 2%, we actually give 25% back to building playgrounds for kids, which is one of the most impactful research ways that we do. And we don't make a whole lot of money because we're actually a startup, we're still struggling, right? The second thing that we do is all the work in the report and the data that we publish is all open source and it's online. There is not a single piece of work that we have undertaken, and we don't work with companies or with clients who don't agree to this data sort of transparency policy. The advantage of doing that is that you're contributing to upping the ecosystem around great evidence. The third thing that we do innovatively is we focus on actually measuring difficult to measure things, such as we're the only organization that's actually worked on creating ways to measure what women's empowerment actually means quantitatively. The fourth thing that we actually very interestingly have done is worked on creating an entire suite of 100 courses. They're all MOOCs, they're online, they're free. So if you care about understanding how evidence and impact makes a difference, all that information is free, it's available, it's online. All you have to do is to go and study, right? None of this stuff is paid. And the fifth thing, of course, that we do is that we are happy to work on a 365-day extension with anybody on making sure that the work that we provide to you actually is understood and goes down and is disseminated across to all your clients. I think these are 5 practices that on the front of it seem like they're extraordinarily anti-business because you don't normally share your trademarks with people, you don't share your proprietary information, you certainly don't give away stuff for free. But then when you work in the development sector, one of the things problems that we're trying to solve is to make sure that there is standardization, that there is data, and that there is interchangeability that people can understand and grow. This, I think, is something of great importance to a forum like the WF because we actually believe as women that collaboration is what helps everybody win together, right, in terms of a community. So that's what we do. I'm happy to sort of talk to you all later more about our work, not to take up any more time, but thank you so much for this honor.
Thank you so much, Varna, for your succinct yet powerful sharing. Much appreciated. If I could invite an industry leader from the field of journalism, someone who comes with 16 years of experience with expertise in travel, leisure, lifestyle, and entertainment. It's an absolute honor to have amongst us the editor-in-chief of Travel and Leisure, Oindrila Mitra. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to wake up and put your hands together for this elegant, beautiful lady. Thank you. Likewise.
It's a bit cold. No, I've lived in Mumbai for 12 years, and it took me 15 days actually to make the decision to pack my bags and come and settle here in Gurgaon. So, that's called stepping out of your comfort zone, literally. So I've kind of experienced it all. And I think it's really important for each one of us out there to really kind of, start thinking out of the box, like my fellow panelists have already kind of emphasized on, because either you move in a herd or the herd follows you, and you need to decide what you want to be. And I think that's the difference, and therein lies what sets you apart from the rest. With my journey at Travel and Leisure, it's been quite interesting because, when I joined the organization about 18 months ago, we've literally kind of changed around the title, what we're doing from what the brand has been doing before that. We've grown digitally exponentially. I think we're the only media publication in the country which grew by 300% as far as our digital growth is concerned in the last 1 year, and that's sort of a record growth as far as the media industry is concerned. And none of that happens, trust me, if you follow the herd. You step out of it, and how you drive it is to kind of build a team that kind of sets you apart along with them. I always believe, especially in a corporate environment, you're as good as your team, right? So practice what you preach always. You know, your team is team comprises everything, literally, at the end of the day. All the work that you're doing in any organization, you cannot do it by yourself. You can direct them, you can have the vision, but to follow through the vision and to make that happen is something which is not a one-man's journey or a one-woman's journey in this case. And that's something that I've learned being in the corporate environment for the past 16 years, that you grow only when your team grows, and you grow when you start thinking out of the box, when you start pushing the boundary, when you get out of your comfort zone. It's easier said than done, but once you do it, you experience it, and you know, and you kind of feel the difference, and you see that impact around you in the work that you do, in the work that your fellow members do, which is also probably one of the reasons why I'm up here today. So thank you so much for this acknowledgement. It really means a lot. I'm not going to take too much of your time. It's a Friday afternoon, and it's nice. It's getting a little sunny out there, so. Yeah, I just came, and you know, it's nice and sunny right now, unlike what it was in the morning. But yeah, I mean, I think my parting words would just be that you need to be, especially, you know, in a corporate environment, you need to be like a sponge. You learn from your experiences, learn to push the envelope, and the only way to do that is to really get out of what you've been doing forever. Get out of your comfort zone. Build a team who's going to stand by you, with you, for you, and you grow with your team. You don't grow alone. And yeah, I mean, I think that's that. For me, that's very important. For me, you know, building a team, sticking together, creating something that all of you are going to cherish on, and, you know, being really sort of taking the ownership of it is what really makes a difference. And that's something that I think one person can lead. And that's why, and that's how, that's the difference between a leader and just a manager. And I think, that's really what it is. You're as good as your team. You know, if you think innovatively, they will too. So start thinking aloud, start thinking together. Build a team along with you, not behind you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oindrala, for that very profound sharing and for shining the light back onto teamwork. Because this is what I always say, teamwork makes the dream work. So that I love to live by that, and it's so beautiful to see that you really live by it too. If I could invite Sujata Sahu to share her incredible journey with the 17,000 Feet Foundation, working in the far reaches of Ladakh, in the field of education and children, and the rest is yours.
Thank you. Hi. So how many of you guys have been feeling cold the past few days? Really cold? Yeah, you. I can see my colleague right there. So how many of you wish you've been somewhere else?
Not Ladakh, that's for sure.
I'd like to take you to Ladakh, if I may. It's just about minus 25 degrees, and winter has just started in Ladakh. We still have a long way to go. So, am I too loud? Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, calling me Dr. Arvind. Thank you so much for this honor. I've been asked to share my journey as well as talk a little bit about encouraging out-of-the-box thinking, innovation within the corporate or the workplace. Now, I come from the corporate. I come from an area where I used to work in corporate IT here in India and in the US. and you just do your work. And you go to office, you work, and you put into a role that you have, that you play. One fine morning, somewhere about 11 years ago, I decided to go on a solo trek to Ladakh. And I was there alone for a few days, actually 3 weeks. And I really had not bargained for what Ladakh was all about. How many of you here have been to Ladakh? Not even one? Great, that's good, because by the time I'm done talking, I'm hoping when I ask you how many of you would like to go, I'm hoping to see a lot many more hands. Yes, great. So I went to Ladakh, and Ladakh for me was everything that you talk about, thinking out of the box. It was like nothing had ever prepared you for. I had quit corporate and I was working with children. I was teaching in a school in Gurgaon, as well as working with children, taking them outdoors. And I go on this solo trek. And just imagine this. I'm in a very remote village, and I'm trekking alone. This village has exactly one house, just one. Picture yourself this. Just one home with 4 inhabitants. And yes, they had about 2 cows and about a couple of goats. And there's nothing for miles around. The nearest next village was at least 4 hours away, by walk, mind you. There's no electricity in the village. There's no telephone connectivity. There's nothing except a house, not even some place where you can buy supplies to eat. The only way to reach this village is by road, as you walk into this village. I go there and I'm stuck, and I was extremely ill. Ladakh, for those of you who don't know, is a high altitude region. It's very difficult to breathe. It's a part of the Himalayan mountain region of India. This area, oxygen is less. I was at about 15,000 feet. And it was extremely hard to breathe, and I felt very ill. I was pretty ill. Now, sitting in there, I'm wondering what in God's name possessed me to come here and alone, where I couldn't reach my family, my husband, nor a hospital. I made it out of that trek alive, thanks to, I think, my obstinacy, just sheer willpower. That was a turning point for me. When I came back from that trek, and I saw a school. On my way back from a trek, I saw a school which had precisely 4 children, just 4 kids. And guess how many teachers? 2. And out of the 2 teachers, one was, I actually met the second teacher on my way into the village, because this teacher was on her way out of the village to buy midday meal supplies for the school. Now, for those of us who have our children in private schools here, we have 30, 40 kids to a classroom. I'm talking about a school which has no more than 4 to 5 kids and 2 teachers who are actually teaching. This completely blew my mind and became my life's call. I quit my school job. I quit any other dreams that I had, one of them being sitting at home and doing nothing. Decided to come back, and I said, what can I do to help the people of this region, and what exactly was the problem? And this is where I want to share with you where innovation, creativity, these are buzzwords today, right? But I was thrown into a situation where I had no choice but to think differently. I came back from this trek, sat at home, and I was just amazed that I knew so little about Ladakh, a part of our own country. Those days, people actually asked me, do I need a passport to go into Ladakh? People didn't know that Kargil was a part of Ladakh. Today, thanks to the fact that we've got Union Territory status, everybody knows that Leh and Kargil are a part of Ladakh. So I come back and I look at the fact that there are actually 1,000 schools in Ladakh. 1,000 schools with an average school strength of just 25 children across the whole school. Student-teacher ratio is barely 4 kids to a teacher. So I go around and saying, what can I do to help the education system? How can I help these people who migrate? Their need for their hunger for education is so intense that they migrate from their villages. Sometimes they walk for 3 days over high altitudes just to reach the city where they think they can get better education in a private school. This, despite the fact that they don't have the money to support it. So if you're a trekker, or if you're just wandering by a village, if you're mad enough like me, they might just catch a hold of you and say, can you please teach my child English? Tell me something, can you teach a child English in the 3 days, or maybe the 1 day that you're there? But that was a level of desperation, and that's what I faced. So when I came back, I said, I need to do something. And the more I went to more nonprofits, I don't come from a nonprofit world, I come from a corporate world where the rules are different. I come back here and I reached out to so many nonprofit agencies and I asked them, what is it that you do to improve education? What is it that you do for community development? How do you help villagers who live in such remote areas? And none of their methodologies would work for me. Simply because they were talking about teaching 30 kids or 500 kids in a school. I'm talking of 5 children, where the distances between schools are so large. And it sometimes took me days to walk. So I had to innovate. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have the money either. So this is what we did. We realized that people didn't know enough about Ladakh. And if more people knew about Ladakh, then it would become easier for us to get support. So first of all, what we did was we decided to put all these tiny 5 and 20 children's schools back on the map. Encourage people, travelers like you. Tell you guys that, look, besides the Ladakh that you go in for tourism, there are other little villages there that you can go to and maybe contribute while you're on vacation. And if you can do that, then I can get more people in. I can get more corporate support. I can get CSR support, maybe philanthropy, maybe people who really want to help. This was 8 years ago when I really didn't have a clue as to what to start. Today, we've adopted about 230 of the 900 plus government schools. This is across Leh, Kargil, and Zanskar. Thank you. My remotest school is a 3-day walk from where we get. So we fly into Leh, and then we drive for 12 hours. You park a car in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a mountain. I wish I could show you pictures. And then you walk for 2.5 days to reach your destination. And there's a little school there in a little village with some 50 homes. We've done a lot of work for these schools. I've set up playgrounds in about 140 schools. Playgrounds like swings and slides and seesaws, things that these people have never seen. I've given them carpeting and furniture, solar electricity. Villages which don't even have mobile connectivity today have tablets. They're learning from tablets and digital education. And why? Simply because I said, just because there are only 5 kids to a school, do I say no? Do I relegate these kids to some corner to say it's not my job to get them help? But the tourism, the volunteer tourism that we started, got us a lot of people who were interested in what we are doing. So we encourage people like you. Next time you want to go to Ladakh, we ask you, don't just be a tourist. Come there and be a volunteer tourist with us. And we guarantee you, you'll go back and tell a lot of other people about our foundation, the work we need. So that's where I want to say, sometimes innovation is not just a thing that is done. Sometimes it's thrust upon you. And it's great because nobody would have believed it when I said, people actually told me you're mad when I said I'm going to start a foundation in Ladakh. Today, I'm here. That itself is, in a way, talks about the fact that I was right in my dreams. So with that, I won't take any more of your time. All I want to say is thank you for having me over. And next time you think of Ladakh, think of 17,000 Feet Foundation and come be a volunteer. Maybe you will have that out-of-the-box moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sujata, for rising to the call of within on that one journey you took that changed, was the trigger point. For your perseverance, for your relentlessness, we salute you for the work you do. Thank you. We've been joined by a speaker, this lovely lady, Aparajita Amar. She has a flight to catch, so even though you were scheduled earlier in the afternoon, I invite you to share your journey with us. A much sought-after advocate and the founder of HASEH LC, Sexual Harassment Legal Compliance Advisory. It's a pleasure to hear your journey. Over to you, Aparajita.
Thank you so much, everyone. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Harbeen for providing me with this honor, this opportunity, and I would like to thank the entire WEF team for organizing this splendid conference so that we all can attend and learn from each other, share insights and experiences. There's been such a diverse mix of all kinds of experiences, journeys, insights, and the kind of work that all of us are doing over here, and that's really, really inspired me a lot. I'd like to give you a small brief about what I do. As was mentioned, I'm a lawyer, and I'm the founder of an organization called SHLC, Sexual Harassment Law Compliance Advisory. We provide end-to-end POSH solutions for all organizations. As many of you would know, India has a mandatory law which makes it compulsory for every organization that has more than 10 employees to have certain mechanisms in place to make their workplaces safe for all women employees. And we provide solutions for that. We have bifurcated our organization to actually help employees implement this law in different verticals. So we have lawyers on board with us, and we have mental health professionals on board with us. And in this entire journey, we help corporates, schools, colleges, hospitals, startups implement these POSH compliances and try to implement them in a best practice format. So we've started helping people understand what's the importance of a mental health professional or a counselor when talking about sexual harassment laws. So, you know, because this law is gender specific in India, it's for protecting women, there's been a huge pushback from men in India. And this has primarily been for two reasons. One, they're not included in it. And second, they're not educated about it. They're not aware about what are their rights under it, and they're very scared about what are the possible misuses that can happen under this law. So through our workshops, we help men and women understand, employees in an organization understand how together they need to make workplaces safe. We help them understand how they have to create dialogues. So when we say dialogues, it just sounds like, so that's a very easy thing to do, right? If someone's being sexually harassed, they can just go up and say, oh, I don't like this. And the other person will understand it. But in implementation, it's not that easy. One, we were never empowered to create those dialogues. And second, most importantly, men have not been empowered to understand how to accept those dialogues. So every time a man is told, this behavior is not okay, his instant reaction is, but I was just flirting. Or, but this is so normal, right? So we help organizations, employees understand how to create that dialogue, how to accept that dialogue. And we actually help them understand how it's not important to, and now the last thing that they should be doing is internalizing this entire process. As was actually also discussed earlier in a few of the sessions, it actually comes down to respecting each other. It comes down to respecting women and understanding that safe workplaces are everyone's right. And I'll be very, very honest. This has been a very challenging journey so far because starting from the top to the bottom, everyone wants to resist this change. Everyone feels that the more we educate people in an organization, the more complaints will come. And somewhere the understanding is not there that if a complaint is coming, that's probably for the better because you have been able to create a mechanism within your organization and your employees trust that mechanism. They're not afraid that they'll be fired. They're not afraid that they will not be understood. So that's a little brief about what we do. And with this, I would like to sum it up. And again, thank everyone here for being a patient listener. And thank WEF again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aparajita, for introducing the language of respect and breaking down the stereotypes that existed in the workplace through organizations. So that's, we're so grateful for you educating the world in this issue. Thank you. I'd like to invite our last speaker on this panel. I invite Jasleen Kaur-Gumbar, the head of marketing at the Benetton Group. Ladies and gentlemen, give us some energy. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. For the most part of my life, I've always been labeled as a storyteller. I've been working in the branding industry. So I'd actually want to just tell all of you a story. I'm a big fan of mythology and more so Indian mythology because I kind of feel that most of the lessons that we want to apply to the current times actually spring from there. There's a very interesting mythological story of a man called Hiranyakashipu. He was with Brahma and he asked for a boon. And he said that, I want to live forever. And Brahma said, I can't do that for you. I can't give you that boon. So he said, all right, so why don't you do one thing? You give me a boon, which means that I will never enter a battlefield. And if I don't enter a battlefield, I'll never have a competitor. If I don't have a competitor, I'll never have a rival, and I will never be killed by anyone. And this very smart guy tricked Brahma into giving that boon to him. He lived for about 1 crore years, the highest that ever anyone's lived in our Vedas. And one fine day, Vishnu was really upset with this. Like, what the hell? I mean, you are a human, and you're supposed to die, and you're supposed to either enter a hell or a heaven. And then he got into thinking that, what do I do with this man? How do I get him to die? And Vishnu came up with this master plan. So he became a half animal and a half man. which basically meant that he's trying to now trick all the boons that he got from Brahma. He stood in the courtyard, which is neither inside or outside. He came at the twilight, which is neither dawn nor dusk. He killed him with a nail, which is neither animate nor inanimate. And finally, he was successful in tricking that boon to an end. Now, why did I recite this story? A lot of times, we are told it's not good to be angry. A lot of times, we are told it's not good to be paranoid. A lot of times, we are told it's not good to be lazy. Crisis is not a favorable situation. But if you think of this story, everything genius in this story came from Vishnu being angry, Vishnu being paranoid. It was a crisis situation. Most of the innovations that come to my mind as masterpiece innovations have not really been created in the luxury of somebody being in a fortunate position. Ramen noodles, if all of us enjoy ramen noodles. Ramen noodles were actually invented after World War II because that was the easiest snack that people could gulp into, and that was made from wheat flour, which was coming in at a very cheap price. 3M Post-it notes that most of us use inside our books and at our desk, it was actually a flop idea because the adhesive was so weak, they couldn't really use it as a strong adhesive. Therefore, if we all want to learn about creativity, there are a million TED Talks out there, so I'm not really going to get into that. But I would really say one thing, that sometimes being in a terrible situation, sometimes being angry, paranoid over things, and being into a crisis situation can help you. Airbnb was started by two guys who were just unhappy with the way the accommodation was working in the city. They did not have money, so they started lending out their homes to other people and taking other people's home as a way of staying in California. So I'm going to wish a life full of problems to you, but hope that you guys can come up with emerging solutions and be creative in your life. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasleen. That was a very insightful story, and thank you for sending us your blessings of all the problems in the world so we can be the problem solvers. Thank you. I invite Dr. Harbeen Arora to felicitate these lovely ladies. We recognize Oindrila Mitra as the woman of the decade in travel and lifestyle media. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this icon of leadership at the Women Economic Forum. Inviting Aparajita Amar as we acknowledge Aparajita as an exceptional leader of excellence. Sujata Sahu, please accept your honor as an exceptional woman of excellence at the Women Economic Forum in Gurugram 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you to use your cham-chams. Varna Sri Raman, please accept your honor. You are an iconic woman creating a better world for all. Sapna Jha, please step up and accept your honor as an exceptional woman of excellence. I invite the very lovely ladies representing Neela Kaushik, the director, the founder of Gurgaon Moms, as we acknowledge Neela as the woman of the decade in community leadership.
evening, everyone. I would like to first thank All Ladies League and Women Economic Forum for recognizing Gurgaon Moms and for this award to our founder, Neela Kaushik. Gurgaon Moms is a sisterhood with more than 32,000 members that aims to support moms. Our vision is to see every mom write her happy story. We believe that motherhood should not stop any woman from pursuing her dreams and passions. Glad that we are here today. We could feel the positive vibes in this place and lots of inspiration stories. Thank you, Harbeen, for having us here and also for introducing us to the sisterhood at a global level. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Since Neela is traveling, Subhashini and I are very happy to receive this prestigious award on her behalf. We have a small note from her which I'd like to read out. I won't take too much time, not to worry. We all know the popular quote that when women come together with a collective intention, magic happens, and we can see that happening here today. In present times, there have been many examples to prove this adage true. This event is one such example, and we would like to congratulate Harbeen for the beautiful efforts and our sincere gratitude for this prestigious award. This adage proves true for our community as well. It's a place where women come together to empower and uplift one another. Once a lady posted about her personal problems and mentioned about how she was feeling lonely. The members took the initiative, met her at a coffee shop. They found her interest was in writing, and they helped her find opportunities that she could pursue her passion. Today, she's an accomplished writer in many portals. Another mom posted about starting a business idea and sampled bottles of oil made at home. Today, she is a standalone successful brand and has opened one physical store. The stories are many, and so are these wonderful women, the agents of change. We dedicate this award to these phenomenal women. May we know them, be them, and raise them. Thank you once again, and may we cherish the sisterhood.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harbeen. Yes, definitely, definitely. I think you have one more. Yeah, please stay here.
I invite Jasleen Kaur Gumber to accept this honor as an exceptional woman of excellence at the Women Economic Forum, Gurugram 2019. Ladies, I request you to come together for a photo. Please join us. And I request the rest of you to please rise. It's that time of the